Wow, did that really happen last episode? Did Dame BowZonHardcore become Lady BowZonHardcore and go through nightmare difficulty? Jeez, how insane is that? Now she's not even stuck in nightmare anymore. Wow, she can go to hell whenever she wants, but her resistance are terrible. Lady BowZonHardcore now can go to hell difficulty, but geez, do I want to? Minus 90 resistances? How is that gonna work? Do I need to just raise my resistances to ridiculous levels? I thought this was crazy, but no, I guess not. These resistances are nothing, but all my gear is garbage. So now, the portal opened up. Now we could farm cows for days, farm cows for weeks and months, and then finally gear up, and maybe get everything ready to take on hell difficulty as BowZonHardcore arrived back in Nightmare. Geez, BowZonHardcore said the experience wasn't even really good and the items weren't good on Nightmare difficulty. She really wanted to go to hell difficulty. She just had to get her resistances up somehow. There had to be some way, something she could do. So BowZonHardcore looked at her rings and tried to get some better ones by re-rolling them. Did they? Wow, dual lifesteal, all resist. This might help. Oh, yeah, maybe if I had that amulet that had the resistance. What are you thinking, Terrell? You still have that, right? So then BowZonHardcore pondered and pondered and thought and thought. Jeez. Which one of those? The dual leech. So she used that amulet and she tried to re-roll a ring or another couple amulets because you might as well. Yeah, you might as well try them, I guess. Frozen orb, wow. Then she just had to find one more magic amulet to make another amulet. Was there any amulets? Do you need this one, Tyrell? We could identify. And then BowZonHardcore tried one more time to get a ring +1. And the all resistance amulet was gonna help. What were the rings gonna be? She had to try to get some rings. She had 4 chances to get new rings. Were any of the rings gonna be any good? BowZonHardcore wasn't a druid. She didn't use Tornado or need Life Leech. Wow, the rings were terrible. The rings were terrible that BowZonHardcore got. The rings did nothing for her. Jeez, the rings all sucked. And then she had 2 chances to get 2 rare jewels. That's not that good. She's looking for the all resist. Wow, she didn't get the jewels she wanted. The jewels didn't help. Small charms. Maybe BowZonHardcore got some charms that helped her in hell difficulty. Except that she didn't because she needed a scroll 27 to roll a charm. That sucks. And then BowZonHardcore's seen it. She's seen the stat forging. Whoa, stat forging for all resistance is +16. How do you get an anvil stone? Holy wow, I needed 4 dragon stones and a perfect gem to make an anvil stone? BowZonHardcore thought she could maybe make 4 anvil stones. 4 times, what was it, 12 or 16? 64 resistances? Yeah, it was +16 resistances. And then BowZonHardcore found she could add +64 to all resistances with all of her dragon stones that Asha gave her. So BowZonHardcore withdrew all of her dragon stones. Really does suck without Kane being here, BowZonHardcore thought. Kane would identify these for me. BowZonHardcore had almost done it. She had assembled the 4, 8, 16 dragon stones. Yeah, just barely. Couldn't even make one more. So then now she just needed the perfect gems. She went to Akara. And then she added the gems to the gemstone gem can to see if she could acquire the 4 perfect gems that BowZonHardcore needed to do this. And then BowZonHardcore had done it. She had assembled all 16 of the dragon stones and the 4 perfect gems that she needed. The perfect amethyst, the perfect emerald, the perfect topaz, and the perfect ruby. So now that she had them in the proper formation, she could add them to the Roderick Cube. And then add the emerald, add the perfect amethyst. And then extract the power into the anvil stone. And then BowZonHC extracted the power of the perfect emerald. And then got the second anvil stone. Next, BowZonHC extracted the power of the perfect topaz next. Then the perfect topaz gave her another anvil stone. Finally, BowZonHC extracted the power of the perfect ruby. And then BowZonHC extracted the final anvil stone that she needed to hopefully move on to hell difficulty. Now all that BowZonHC needed was... Now all that BowZonHC needed was the chipped diamonds of power to finalize this process. Jeez, wow. Chipped diamonds of power. Now the formation was nearly complete. Now BowZonHC just needed to figure out which items to add this newfound power to. Jeez, that looks so cool. It looks so cool with the Dragonstone formation. Which items were gonna be upgraded? BowZonHC had tough decisions right now. First, BowZonHC infused the Anvil Stone's power into the Trellised Armor. I better make sure I do this right. I don't want to waste all my Dragonstones. Target item plus Anvil Stone plus Chip Diamond. Other items, all resistances. And then BowZonHC. What did she do? BowZonHC then combined the Chip Diamond and the Anvil Stone and the Trellised Armor. Then the Trellised Armor had plus 16 more resistances. Plus 20 resistances. Plus 36 now. Wow. BowZonHC had even more resistances. This was it. And then next, BowZonHC funneled the power of the Anvil Stone and the Chip Diamond to the Atra's Force Gauntlets. Wow, now the gauntlets had all resistances plus 16. Now BowZonHC only had 2 more items left. BowZonHC funneled the power of the Chip Diamond through the Anvil Stone to the Helm of Spirits Full Helm. And then the Full Helm had plus 16 resistances. Jeez. Now BowZonHC had one final item to decide. What was she gonna choose? What was even worth it? These items weren't really anything. Maybe the amulet then. The amulet. BowZonHC infused the power of the Chip Diamond through the Anvil Stone to the Bloodwing Amulet. Wow, it already had all resistance. And then the Bloodwing Amulet had 32 resistances. Jeez. Now was BowZonHC ready for hell difficulty? I went to normal because the gems were cheaper. Wow, now BowZonHC had plus resistances. There wasn't too much more to go. She could still socket that and then socket her charm. Jeez, BowZonHC was almost ready. And then eventually BowZonHC found it as she put on the last item. She had maximum resistances and hell difficulty. Jeez, that was quick. Didn't even have to farm anything. Wow. And then BowZonHC, as it was written, was ready for hell difficulty now. Jeez, I was sure that Lady BowZonHC had to farm in normal difficulty for years to obtain anything to get the plus 90 resistances she needed, but all she needed was the power of the Dragon Stones and the perfect gems, and then the Chip Diamonds to fuse the Anvil Stones to power up the items to give them plus 16 resistances, and then she just had to add some more jewels and move around her runes and everything, and then move her armor around. Jeez, wow. BowZon Hardcore had negative 32 fire resistances. Now she has plus 75 fire resistances. That's a huge jump. BowZon Hardcore was not going to stay in Nightmare difficulty. BowZon Hardcore was not stuck there. BowZon Hardcore probably moves on to Hell difficulty and then dies there. No, she's going to live. BowZon Hardcore defeats Hell difficulty.